YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back after a super entertaining Thursday night game here in Week 15 between the Chargers and the Chiefs. The Chiefs pull it off in overtime. I'm here to give you my takeaways, thoughts. I know a lot of the talking points is surrounding really just one, Brandon Staley's decision to not kick field goals. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. I feel very strongly about my position on those things there. But it was a super entertaining game, a big win for the Chiefs. Would have been big for the Chargers. We do this video every Friday after those Thursday games. We have recaps on the Sunday games, and the Saturday games will be with that on Monday. And we have weekly picks, score predictions, power rankings, and a lot more coverage in the offseason as well. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow our Twitter for live updates, talking live during games as well. So 34-28, the Chiefs pulled it off in overtime. Let's talk about first kind of what I liked for each team, what was positive, negative. Travis Kelce had a big time game. Obviously, just continues to get open while you know what's kind of coming. You got to focus on this guy. I mean, Tyreek Hill out for a couple plays was that in the start of overtime. Just really got to focus on Kelce, and you really still can't stop him. I know Derwin James was not in there. Chargers missed some guys, but it's the footwork ridiculous, and you see the run after catch ability too. And Tyreek Hill was big, obviously for them. He had a catch along the sideline, which was an underthrow by Patrick Mahomes. And he was interfered with. That was huge, big-time play for him. You see the footwork and the route running, just ridiculous for both those guys. They're two top targets. Nick Bolton, it felt like the rookie from Missouri was everywhere. High motor guy. Couple pass deflections that were absolutely huge in this game. One on fourth down, one led to an interception. Just everywhere it felt like this guy was. So that's a rookie that's kind of been getting better and better. You kind of question, they took linebackers 2 years in a row in the same spot, same round. And you start to question it, but Nick Bolton looked pretty damn good for the Chiefs. Just so clutch on fourth down, the goal line defense. I mean, that was it for the Chiefs. I mean, the main talk is the Chargers blew the game. The Chargers couldn't execute. Chargers should have kicked field goals. This and that was kind of the talk. But how about the Chiefs getting those stops? I know there was some drops for the Chargers, but Chiefs getting those stops. Big time fourth down plays by that defense. On the goal line, making plays, forcing that fumble, obviously. So that was huge. So maybe the defense wasn't as good as it has been. They've been shutting teams down, but they were as good, on fourth down in the goal line. So that was huge for the Chiefs. Mahomes, overall, I'd say it was a positive day for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he still had those clutch moments, big time, threw for a lot of yards. Understanding where to go with the ball. The timing throws were great. So overall, I think a positive day for Mahomes. The best part, the most positive part was kind of beating the pressure. The pressure was on him quite a bit. Just his ability to maneuver in the pocket, escape the pressure, and kind of knowing when to move before it's too late. Extending plays, making throws, on the run, making plays with his legs. So overall, a very positive day for Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, there was some, negative moments, turn the ball over a little bit, on that fourth down near the goal line, all those Chargers mistakes where they couldn't execute and couldn't get those points. The Chiefs missed out on some points there. Just a real bad throw from Mahomes, and the reason was he didn't have grip on the ball, but that's part of it. It's a negative play. It's a play that I really shouldn't see happen. So missed out some points there. Overall, I'd say it's a positive day for Mahomes. The big one was his ability to escape pressure, maneuver in the pocket, outside the pocket. So positive day. Running game on both sides of the ball was really the only negative thing here for me for the Chiefs. They didn't have much of a running game. They didn't really need it because the passing game was going, so it's not the end of the world in the offensive running game, but the stop and the run was a big problem. And I still kind of question that. They've been dominant on defense, but you still feel like this team, you might be able to run on this team, and the Chargers aren't really a big-time running team, and they were able to. But the Chiefs clutch up here, win the game. They were pretty fortunate. They deserve all this credit. The main thing, they clutched up when they needed to. They were pretty fortunate to win this game, though. They did let the Chargers drive the ball on them, but again, they clutched up in those crucial moments. Justin Herbert was fantastic. He didn't throw for a whole lot of yards. It felt like he threw for more, but I'm not a big stats guy. Justin Herbert was fantastic in this game. Some great balls. You see him scan the field, going through his progression, getting outside the pocket when he needs to. Just the velocity on the ball. It's just an outstanding game, I thought, from Justin Herbert. He did plenty to help his team win. There was yards, touchdowns, points left off in the field, and it wasn't really his fault. The drops were pretty bad in this game. So Justin Herbert played one hell of a game, and it was kind of I've never been a person to complain about the overtime rules because I'm kind of it's such a great game, and it's been that way the whole time. I'm not a big fan of change, but looking at the rules, I understand they're not 100% fair. But I've never been one to complain about it, and I'm not really going to sit here and complain about it. But it is kind of a shame that a guy like Justin Herbert doesn't get to touch the ball in overtime, based on the way he played in this game. Run game was great. Run game was actually great. I was surprised how much, and that kind of goes into controlled the clock. And I thought it was the game plan, but I think more of within the game play calls and adjustments. I thought they were great. They were running the ball more than we're used to. Using Justin Jackson ran well. I wish he would have got the ball more. Maybe the only bad thing is his decision to give Joshua Kelly the ball near the goal line, but they trust their guys to execute, and he tries to jump the pile way too early. It was at the 3-yard line. Didn't look like he had the best grip on the ball the way he had it. And it looked like it was about to get knocked out in multiple different scenarios there, and it did get knocked out, fumble on the goal line. So maybe Justin Jackson or Austin Eckler should have been in. Eckler was kind of wasn't 100% there. Maybe Justin Jackson should have been in. But you got to trust your guys to execute. He didn't execute. It was a poor play by Joshua Kelly there. But overall, the run game was great. They were gaining on the ground. They were kind of exposing a red-hot Chiefs defense there. But a big thing, they were controlling the clock. They were getting the ball back, 6 minutes here, 5 minutes, whatever, and they would just drain the whole clock and get down there. Sometimes they wouldn't finish with points, but it wasn't the clock. It wasn't their fault for draining the clock. So I thought they did a good job mixing it up. They did a good job sticking to the run when it worked. They did a good job controlling the clock when they were able to. They won the time of possession because of that. I thought the play calling, the situational play calling, was fantastic for the LA Chargers. I almost just called them San Diego for some reason. So I thought that was fantastic. So now the big question of the fourth downs, the goal line offense, the decision not to kick field goals. And you could say, I mean, why Brandon Staley's under a lot of heat right now is because if they would have just kicked a field goal, they would have won the game. That's one way to look at it. Okay, yeah, they could have, if they would have got even one of these or two of those fourth down conversions, he would look like a god right now, and everybody would be praising him. So that's just kind of how it is. I don't mind them going on fourth down. I don't mind them. I'd say maybe the first drive to me, because they returned a kick to get down to their offense, didn't do a whole lot, but then offense didn't do a whole lot, so we just take the points that you were given there. So I can argue that. But the offense did enough to score. There was just some drops there. So you could say if he just execute, we trusted our guys to execute. If they could just execute, then we are right to go on fourth down. And that was kind of the case the whole way. There was either drops on fourth down, or it seemed to be right before, like it shouldn't have came to fourth down. But we're running these plays, and they're working. They're successful, but they're not successful because there's guys open. Herbert's hitting them. They're dropping the ball. So hey, if we run one more play on fourth down, we've been super successful on fourth down this year. We trust our guys. We're that talented to do this. The chances are we're going to get it. Chances are our MVP caliber quarterback's going to get the job done, and he did. Chances are our guy's going to finally catch the ball. No, they weren't. Or maybe Nick Bolton or somebody makes a great play, tipping the ball or, whatever it is. It's unfortunate, So I'm actually okay with going for it on fourth down. And I understand the argument, that, you take the points, you win the game, sure. But, going against a team like the Chiefs, who could score at any given time, they need 5 seconds to score. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I understand it. Don't take your opponent lightly, especially when it's a team like the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes back there. Saw what they did in overtime. And then given who they were missing on defense, look at a guy like Derwin James. You're not trusting your defense. And you're trusting your offense. You're not really trusting your defense. And people will look at that as a bad thing. I don't. There is a problem across the league with being too confident. You're like, kick the field goal. We'll trust our defense. And while the defense is struggling a little bit, and you're playing a Mahomes offense, a Chiefs offense, so I'm fine with the Chargers. With their decisions, they just didn't execute. They trusted their guys to execute. Really, if you don't trust your guys to execute, catch the ball, then you kick field goals. They feel like they're a very talented team. They got an all-pro quarterback, in my opinion, here. So I'm not really going to rip him for trusting him. If this was against a weaker opponent with the weaker offense and you lost the game because of that, it would look a lot worse, and I maybe understand it. But it's going against the Chiefs here in a big game. So I don't really mind it. At the end of the day, if they would have kicked one field goal, it would have made the field goal, but they could have won the game there, obviously. They just got to execute. I mean, going back to Kelly on the goal line, what's he doing? Jumping from the 3-yard line, losing the ball. Again, the drops are ridiculous. I mean, Keenan Allen didn't have one near the goal line, but he had one kind of in the middle of the field for a big play right through his hands. You don't see that. It wasn't good. Cook dropped one that would have been a touchdown. Mike Williams had a couple drops. It just can't happen. Earlier, they were losing games, even they were winning close games. They were winning games close. There was some drops in the same scenario. So, kind of back to saying they may need more weapons because Justin Herbert is it. He is it. This guy, I think, will win an MVP in the near future. So maybe he needs more help here because the offensive line was fine too. I thought you went out Rashawn Slater too. So I thought it was more of an execution problem going into mainly drops, but again, Kelly on the goal line, those things, I didn't really mind going for it. I really didn't. Overtime was unfortunate. The Chiefs started with the ball. No Derwin James out there, but you got to know Kelsey's getting the ball. Letting him cook you off of his footwork and off his routes, and then beat you running after the catch. Even though he's elite talent, he's a phenomenal athlete for a tight end. It just shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't happen. Another positive thing with the Chargers, Uchenna Nwosu, that was a ridiculous play by him. And that felt like the play of the game, to put the Chargers in the driver's seat. And they went and actually scored right after that. I think one play to Eckler. That was a ridiculous play. Stopped it with momentum, jumped up super high. A freakish athletic play there. Big-time play. It's just one of those, like the Chargers should have won this game. They should have won this game. They're not taking anything away from the Chiefs. Fantastic team, obviously. They're balling right now. Chargers should be able to pull through in this game. And it's just like kind of the classic Chargers in a different fashion, though. But they have a different roster, a different staff. I mean, they have an MVP caliber quarterback, and we're still scratching our head at a loss. Like, how do they not win it? It's kind of just classic Chargers there. They got to win that game. It's just based on how it went, but the importance of the game as well. I mean, they could have won this division. Now it's going to be very, 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 very tough to win this division. And then you're fighting to get in the playoffs at the same time still. So that was a tough one. Chargers could be they can be maybe the most dangerous team in football. But then there's just sometimes where they're just, they're not they're very, very beatable, by pretty much anybody. But it's a tough one for him. Again, I don't really mind Staley's decisions there. Trusted his guys to execute. They didn't execute. Got to catch the damn ball. That's a big one. Your job is to catch the ball. You got to catch the ball. Everyone's gonna have drops here and there, but that was ridiculous there. Ridiculous. Really wish they would use Josh Palmer more. Really wish they would. He had a nice catch at one point. It was a beautiful throw by Herbert. I just wish they would use him more. But that's gonna do it for my takeaways from the Thursday night football game. We got some Saturday games and, of course, Sunday games, Monday night game. And we'll have the recaps on Monday. We'll have our Week 16 content next week. And, I'm trying to make a video on coaching candidates because that's kind of a hot topic right now as well. So, follow us on Twitter for all these updates. Link down below for that. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. We much appreciate it. It's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.